Jai Hind everyone, welcome to the online class of Shriram Public School. As you know, this pandemic is on rise and various variants of coronavirus is coming day by day. This variant Omicron is getting serious every day. So I request you all to stay safe at your homes. If you step out, don't forget to use your mask and try avoiding stepping out of your homes. Use regular sanitizers and keep washing your hands so that the things might normalize soon and we might get back to the classes soon. So today's class we are going to see the poem Animals, as you can see on the board, but before that I would like to tell you something about the syllabus. Of course, we have already seen about the class 10th syllabus and we have studied a part of it, but I would like to tell you once again about it. As we know, there are 3 sections in the examinations. We'll be having descriptive examination this type, where we have subjective paper, of course, where we'll be writing answers. Multiple choice questions won't be there. In 3 sections, first section will be reading section, where we'll be getting 2 passages, descriptive and factual. In section 2, we'll be having writing and grammar section, where your writing skills will be tested along with your grammar. In section C, we'll be having literature. In first slide, we have both poetry and prose, and in footprints without feet, we have proses. Now, coming back to the topic of today's, so this poem's name is Animals, and we have 2 more poems that of course we have studied already, Amanda and yes, The Tale of Custard the Dragon. Coming back to this poem, Animals. Animals, you know, first we see about the title. The title is Animals. When the title Animals comes to your mind, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Of course, you might have different animals in your visuals. For example, if I say animals, some might think about a tiger, some might think about a lion, but here animals is used to highlight what? The traits of animals. How animals are not involved in unnecessary things. How animals are so calm. How animals are self-contented, they are self-contained, they are self-satisfied. How they don't request for respect. How they don't feel bad. How they don't expect anything from anybody. And the poet Walt Whitman wants to highlight that these are the qualities which human beings should have possessed. But actually, animals have these qualities. And Walt Whitman is somewhere, highlighting this theme and requesting to all the human beings out there to what? To emerge out with these qualities which animals possess. Before starting the poem, we of course need to know something about the poet. The name of the poet is Walt Whitman. His full name is Walter Whitman. He was born in the year 1819 and he died in the year 1892. Walter Whitman or Walt Whitman was an American poet, essayist and journalist. Walt Whitman is known as the father of free verse. Now what is free verse? So poetry has many types. For example, sonnet, ballad, free verse. Now coming to free verse. The modern poetry is specifically written in free verse, mostly free verse. If free verse, the poem doesn't follow any rhyme scheme and the poets have poetic license to change the subject verb concord and some more rules like spellings of the words, etc. So as the word itself indicates, free verse means you get the freedom of writing the poems according to you, where you just have to bring out that effect and impact, and that's what is all needed. So free verse is that kind of poetry, and all the modern poems, mostly the modern poems, are written in free verse that you people study. So it's good to know who is the father of free verse, and that is Walt Whitman. Okay, now coming to the poem's introduction. Of course, this poem is also written in free verse, and this poem majorly have the poetic devices like metaphor, anaphora, assonance and repetition, which goes on throughout the poem. Now, the poem starts where the poet starts speaking in first person. Who is first person? I. So the poet starts speaking in first person and the poet says, I think I could turn I think I could turn. Could means, could again is a modal which highlights possibility. And you know, we have seen the uses of all the modals. So could, it highlights the possibility, and could here is used in the poem with first person where the poet says, I think I could turn and live with animals. I think I could turn and live with animals. Who thinks that? The poet Walt Whitman says that I think I should turn. That he wants to turn into animals and wants to live with the animals. I think the poet thinks that he could turn means change, and live with animals. Now, to learn it in a better way, you need to have your books in your hands. So please take your books in your hands. First Flight, poem number 2 of term 2, Animals, written by Walt Whitman. So I am reading out the lines and you people have to look into your books for better understanding. I think I could turn and live with animals. They are so placid and self-contained. I stand and look at them long and long. The poet says, I think I could turn and live with animals. He wants to turn into and wants to live with whom? Live with the animals, and the poet highlights the reason also. The poet further adds on by saying that they are so placid and self-contained. And what do you mean by placid? Placid means they are very calm. They are very calm. Keep on writing the meanings. So they refers to the animals. They are so placid, they are so calm and self-contained. What do you mean by self-contained? Who are happy in themselves, self-contentment, satisfaction, self-satisfied they are. Who? The animals. The animals are calm and self-satisfied. So the poet says, just look at the line, I think I could turn and live with animals. They are so placid and self-contained. And the poet also says, how do I know this? You people might ask, how does the poet know that the animals are placid and self-contained? So the poet in next line says, I stand and look at them long and long. And the poet, observes this by standing and looking at the animals for long and long. And by looking at the animals for long time, the poet gets this observation. What? That they are so placid and self-contained, and that is why he thinks of turning and living with the animals. Further, look into your books, the further lines goes on like this. They do not sweat and whine about their condition. Now, the poet one by one highlights what? The poet one by one highlights what are the qualities of the animals that he likes. So the first one he says, of course the first one he has already mentioned, that they are so placid and self-contained. Secondly, he is saying they do not sweat and whine about their condition. What do you mean sweating? Sweating means when you are worried and you sweat. When you are worried, you start sweating. And whine means to cry, to mention. So that is what poet wants to highlight. We human beings, everyone is having problems. No one is having a perfect life. Nobody. There's no human on this earth, and I repeat that, no human on this earth who has a perfect life. Then why are we complaining? To whom and what for? I too have problems, you too have problems. What for complaining? What for are we people complaining, and to whom? And the poet doesn't like this quality of human beings, and the poet says animals don't have this quality. This negative quality, it's not quality of course, the negative aspect of human life, that we always have to worry, we always have to cry, we always have to mention about our conditions. I'm suffering from this, I'm having this issue, I'm having this problem. But the animals, they do not sweat and whine about their condition. So yes, the second line goes like this, they do not sweat and whine about their conditions. That is what the poet hates about human beings. The human beings keep on complaining. Whine means keep on crying, complaining. And they mention about their worries. That is why they are sweating. They are worried of their condition. But they shouldn't be, because we all are in the same boat. We all are having problems, and this is the quality of animals which he likes, that they do not sweat and whine about their condition. Okay, so this is one line. Another line, the next one also, if you see another sentence, it also starts with they do not. When multiple lines start with the same word, what is that figure of speech called? I told that. And it is called what? Perfect. Anaphora. It's called anaphora. What is assonance? When vowels keep on repeating throughout in a sentence, and you find that in the poem. As I told, assonance and consonance you would be finding in all of the literary works, because of course the words are made by the uses of vowels, so it has to be repeated. Further, there is metaphor and repetition of the words as a whole. Let us come to the next line. Now we will see, of course, where is metaphor used and where is anaphora used, where is assonance used, where is repetition used. Okay, first let us see the line by line explanation. Till then you try to find out all the figures of speech there. Okay, the next line goes like this: they do not lie awake in the dark and weep for their sins. What do you mean by they do not lie awake? Have you ever found any human being lying awake in the night and weeping for their sin? Yes, first you commit those mistakes, and once you are done with the mistakes, you people start mentioning it. You people start feeling guilty about it, and you weep for your sins. So it doesn't mean that you don't have to weep for your sins. It doesn't mean, the poet doesn't want to say that you don't have to feel guilty for the wrong things that you did. But you have to learn from it. And that is what animals do. They don't sit and cry for it. They learn out of it and they move forward. This is what the poet wants to say to you all also. You people don't have to sit and overthink about things. You don't have to sit and weep for the things that you did already. What do you have to do then? You have to know that this is something wrong that you did. You have to learn out of it. You have to emerge out of it, and you have to move ahead. Okay, that is what the poet wants to say, that the animals, they do not sit and cry, they do not sit and weep for their sins lying in some dark corners. And what is dark corners? Again, it brings that negative environment. So you don't have to bring out that negative things in you, the negative environment. You close the lights and you have to sit in dark and cry. You don't have to do these things. Once you did and you know that this is something wrong that you did, you have to step out of it. You have to learn from it, that this was something wrong that happened, and I have to learn from it and I have to move ahead. Moving to the next line, it says, they do not make me sick, discussing their duties to God. Now whatever you people do throughout the day, whatever you are doing, don't you think it is assigned to you already? God has assigned, God has made you, and God has assigned these duties to you. The duties as a student, the duties as a son or a daughter. You don't have to mention that, you don't have to discuss, I did this, I did that. You don't need to mention. Since you are born on this earth as a human being, you already have been assigned some duties and responsibilities that you have to fulfill. And that is what the poet brings out here. Animals do not discuss their duties to God. They know there are some duties that they have to fulfill. They have to feed their children. They have to feed their children. The children have to take care of their parents. They do that. And they don't discuss it. They don't boast about it. They don't tell it about it to anybody. So that is what you people need to know. You people have some responsibilities, and whatever responsibility it is, you have to fulfill. You don't need to mention. And further the poet says, not one is dissatisfied. Not one is demented by the mania of owning things. Nobody under heaven, no animal you will find dissatisfied. Whatever they find, they will eat. Whatever condition they are in, they will live. They don't need any specific thing to spend their life. So that is what the poet wants to tell you. You don't have to dissatisfied with your conditions. Either you try to improve it or you let it go. So no one is dissatisfied. No one is demented by the mania of owning things. Demented means mentally sick. Mania means yes, the craziness. Mania means the craziness of owning things, of possessing things. We human beings, if we saw somebody possessing something, we want to have that thing. For example, you saw your friend having a watch or a phone and you start demanding to your parents, I too want that. Is it correct? No. So you have to learn this from animals, that no one is dissatisfied and no one is having that craziness of possessing things. And that is what you have to learn from animals. This is the next line. The next line, look into your book. It goes like this: not one kneels to another, not to his kind that lives thousands of years ago. So it doesn't mean you don't have to kneel down before anyone. The poet says no animal kneels to another. If you have seen that movie Jungle Book, the Jungle Book or Tarzan sort of movies, then you might have found that the animals are bowing down before the king. So it is all fictitious, imaginary. But in animals, whoever lives, they live with peace and harmony. Nobody is disturbing anyone and they are cool with each other. So that is what the poet wants to mention, that there is nobody who kneels down in front of one another. What does it mean? It means that nobody is having that craze of getting respect. They are happy with whatever they get. They are not asking for respect to one another. They are not kneeling down to one another, not to one who lived thousands of years ago. It means they are not bowing down before their ancestors even. So is it wrong to bow down before your ancestors? What is Walt Whitman saying? Is it not good to bow down before your ancestors? So yes, there is nothing bad about it. We should. But you don't have to boast about it. You don't have to expect anything in return. If you are giving someone respect, automatically you will get respect. But you don't need to ask for it. You don't need to, beg for it. You don't need to mention about it. So you don't need to do these things. You just have to do what you wish to do, and that is it. And here the poet says that the animals, they don't kneel down to one another, nor to their ancestors, not to the ones who lived thousands of years ago. And that is what the poet wants you people to remember. If you are giving respect to someone, don't expect anything in return. You just have to do your duties, and don't mention about those duties. You just have to remember these qualities which actually animals are possessing. You should have those qualities. Now, next line. Not one is respectable or unhappy over the whole earth. Not one is respectable means nobody is demanding for this respect. Nobody is expecting anything, and once you stop expecting, this sadness, this unhappiness, it disappears, it goes. Why? Because you don't have expectations and you don't have the reason of being sad then. So that is what the poet mentions, because nobody is demanding for respect, because nobody says I am respectable or you are respectable. So there is nothing like unhappiness in them. They are all satisfied. Moving further in the poem, the poet says, so they show their relations to me. So they show their relation to me and I accept them. The poet says, they show their relations to me. They want to show their affection towards me, and I too feel very correlatable with them. I feel very good, calm with them. And the poet says, I accept them. I accept their relations. I accept their gesture. I accept whatever they are, as they are. Whatever they are, the poet is accepting them as it is. Further, the poet says, they bring me tokens of myself. What do you mean by tokens? Tokens? Tokens means, yes, you must be knowing, what do you mean token? Whenever you get a token, it's just that you possess that thing. Token, evidence of something. So yes, here also these animals are having those tokens, those symbols of myself, the poet says, and myself refers to all human beings. So they have symbols of human beings which they evince, which they possess, and which they evince very plainly in them, in their possession, which they show, which they have, but they don't boast about it, and they have it in them and they evince it very plainly. They show it very plainly. They don't have to boast about it, that I have these qualities which you should have, but you don't have and I have it. So that is what is mentioned about the animals, and the poet is very happy with them. The poet says they evince them plainly in their possessions, and I'm very happy with them. And in the last lines, the poet says, I wonder where they get these tokens. The poet says, I am very, very surprised where they get these tokens from. Did I pass that way huge times ago and negligently dropped them? Showing, Evans means showing them these, showing the poet these possessions very plainly, which actually these qualities who should have? Human beings. And the poet is wondering where these animals got these qualities from. And the poet at the end ends the poem with a question mark. The poet wants to ask to all the human beings, were you people having these qualities? Did you people were careless about it, negligent about it? Did you people not care about these qualities? Did you people drop these qualities? And when you drop these qualities, did these animals, they took it in their possession? So that is what the poet is asking to you all, to everyone. These qualities which you should be having, how are the animals having these qualities? How? Did you people, did we human beings have dropped it negligently, carelessly, and these animals have picked it up in themselves? So now you have to possess these qualities, and you people have to remember that these qualities are important for a figures of speech. Many a times you people might have spotted all the figures of speech. Talking of some prominent figures of speech, assonance is prominent throughout the poem. This I is repeated in all the lines. Thereafter there's anaphora, multiple lines are starting with the same words. Also there's metaphor, sweat and wine. Sweat and wine refers to the miseries, the cries, the sufferings of human beings, which all human beings complain about. Then we have repetition. So long time ago, many words are continuously repeated in the poem. Try to be shared with you, and please write it down in your copy. The explanation is done. The summary is to be written by you all. That's all for this class. Thank you. Have a good day.